Welcome to another day in paradise here at UCF. We are Group L25 UCF Attendance. My name is Yuki Zhao. I'm a front-end developer.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Nguyen. I'm also the front-end developer.
Hello, my name is Alexander Stanchu, and I'm a mobile app developer.
Hi, my name is Kaylee Rodriguez, and I'm the project manager as well as a mobile app developer.
Hi, my name is Juan Chen. I'm the Scrum Master and the backend developer.
My name is Fan Fan, and I am the backend developer.
Okay, so currently at UCF, other than using a pen and paper, the most popular way of taking attendance is using this app called UCF Here. It pretty much just allows students to scan a QR code for attendance and automates the whole attendance taking process. Very good idea in theory, but currently there's a lot of issues with it. It crashes often, disrupting class. It is very vulnerable to misuse. And the biggest pain point that we've gotten from professors is that they want to be able to take attendance multiple times throughout their class. UCF here currently is unable to support that because the session times out after 15 minutes. So we came up with a solution, and that solution is UCF Attendance. You can imagine this as everything that UCF here has. But on top of that, we have the dynamically generated QR codes with JWTs, facial recognition for added layer of authentication, GPS location as well. And also, most importantly, it allows for QR code scanning for the entirety of duration of class. Even when you exit out of the tab, you're able to go back to the QR code anytime you want.
So our main goals for UCF attendance is that we want to improve upon the current attendance tracking system here at UCF. We want to make sure that we deliver a reliable and scalable platform for our users. We also want to ensure that we minimize attendance fraud as much as possible through the use of our toggleable features. And lastly, we want to create a smooth UI experience that allows for both professors and users to navigate our platform with ease. For our requirements, first and foremost, our platform must work. Professors must be able to generate dynamically generated QR tokens, QR codes, and students must be able to scan those QR codes and be successfully marked present for class. In addition, those QR codes must be valid for longer than 15 minutes, and if a professor were to click off of the tab and click back on, those QR codes must still be valid. And lastly, we want to ensure that these toggleable features like GPS location tracking and facial recognition are functioning and working to ensure genuine student presence in a classroom.
Here's a quick look at our application flow. The app start with the client UI of the professor, which is a web application. Here in the web app, the professor has a choice to configure whether they want to do the GPS reader check or facial recognition check. After configuration, they can send the token back to the backend. The backend then validates the request and create a token in the database and send back that token to the professor UI. The professor web app then will generate the QR code based on the token and displays it on the big screen. The student who use the progressive web app will use that app, turn on the camera, and then scan that QR code on the screen. If GPS or, for example, facial recognition is required, they will have to take the photo of their face and send that back to the backend to validate. The backend here will go through the process of multi-step to validate the token and also checking the facial and GPS. And if everything success, they will insert the record completion into our database and confirm with the student on the UI.
Here are all the technology we use for the backend. So what does the backend do? Here's three fundamental things the backend needs to handle. The first thing is authentication and authorization. We use email and password for authentication. JWT tokens will be given for session management. And on the client side, they will use that JWT token to access the protected endpoint. The second thing is CRUD endpoints. These endpoints are being used by client side to interacting with the backend. These are CRUD operation. We also enforce permission based on user role, and the validation implement as part of the business logic. And the last thing we need to handle is to process the uploaded file from a student taking the picture of themselves?
The technologies used for the front end consists of Vite, React, Tailwind CSS, React Query, React Hook Form, Zestin, and Axios. Professors can perform basic CRUD functions such as create, read, update, and delete for the courses. They also have the ability to create sessions for each course. We allow for the professors to have toggleable options of facial recognition and GPS detection. For the facial recognition, selection is handled by the request being processed through AWS recognition. As for the GPS, the student's location is retrieved and validated through the backend. The professor web interface, of course, displays the QR sessions as well as a list of attendees for each session. Professors will be able to export the list of attendees as a CSV file.
Right. So we initially wanted to create a native mobile app, but it came with a lot of complexities and required a lot of resources, which we don't have access to. So some feedback we got from our sponsor, which was Professor Lineker, was suggesting of doing a PWA. Now you may ask, what is a PWA? Well, a PWA is a web-based application that is designed to work like a native app without requiring a launch on an app store. So we wanted to improve the current UCF here while carrying over some of the same basic features for student familiarity. And our thought process was, why don't we create a PWA that can scan pre-generated QR codes, allow students to track their attendance, have facial recognition, and have GPS for added security as well. Now, the main purpose for the GPS is to make sure that you're physically present in class for your attendance to count. Otherwise, even if you pass the facial recognition test, you'll still be marked absent if you are not there. Now, for some key outcomes, we were able to implement these QR codes with JWT tokens, integrate GPS, and have toggleable facial recognition features, while giving these controls all over to the professor and the professor side of the UI. Now, our goal was to use all of these solutions to combat against the current misuse of UCF here.
Thank you. Moving on to the demonstration.
Okay, so here's the sign-in page for the professor UI. So the professor would just sign in here with his credentials. Once you sign in, you'll see this courses page. This is all the courses that you have. You can add course if you want, or you could view a current course. Why don't we view a current course? Once you click in there, you'll see all the sessions that you have. You see some of them have the status of ongoing. Maybe if you scroll further down, there's like courses that ended. Yeah, so there's 2 courses that ended there, but why don't we add a new course? So we're gonna keep facial recognition on, GPS location off for this one. And once you click into our new course, you'll be able to see the QR code. This is the QR code that you want all your students to scan. Once your students scan it, you can take a look at the list of attendees in the attendees tab. Obviously, it's empty because nobody has scanned it in. So why don't we hop over to the student UI, scan it in, and see if it works.
Okay, now let's go ahead and test out the PWA. We'll go ahead and log in. Here we can see the dashboard, but now let's go ahead to test out the attendance. We will allow access to the camera. Here we can see that it successfully scanned the QR code, and now let's go ahead and take a picture of our face for the facial recognition. There we can see that the image was uploaded successfully and the attendance has been taken.
Let's see if Kaylee's scanned in successfully. Okay, as you can see, there's one student there. That's Kaylee's. And once you end your class, you can click end session. You can also export the list of students that signed into attendance. So you can upload it to web courses for grades. And lastly, there's one more tab we want to show. Let's take a look at the reports section. So the report section kind of just handles all the failed scans. For example, if a student was asked to take a facial recognition photo and for whatever reason the photo didn't come out right, as a professor, you can go in it, take a look and override it and give the student their grade if you deem that they were there in class. And yeah, I think that's everything.
On behalf of Team L25 UCF Attendance, I want to thank you so much for watching our Senior Design Showcase video.